2024 is going to be sort of a cleansing of the market where opportunities are going to present themselves. Mm-hmm. Hey everybody, Greg Baren here. Thanks for joining us again today. We are entering 2024 and everybody's wondering what's going to happen. So today I've got Casey Mesner in the studio with us. He is our Bad A Director of Marketing for the Baren Companies. We thought we'd change up just a little bit and give you a little peek behind the curtain of just what our companies are doing, what we're doing personally and what we're doing corporately to plan for 2024. So welcome, Casey. And you've got some questions prepared for the professor today that maybe will shed some light on all things Baren Companies.
I think what our followers really want to know, who you are, what you do. Are you just a talking head on YouTube, or do you actually know what you're talking about?
No, actually, we spent the last 35 years establishing our anchor in the real estate space. We have companies in civil engineering, commercial construction, real estate development. We manage portfolios of properties across the country. I think we're in about 13 states now. And in the last few years, we've also been in software development specifically for real estate and financial modeling.
Is that what's behind you?
Yes.
Well, how in the world did you come up with software as a land developer, real estate guru? How did you end up developing software?
Actually, there's a couple of reasons why we developed it. Number one is we felt the need internally to be able to be precise in financial modeling because we were doing so much in that space. And number two is the bulk of our clients that came in didn't have a very sophisticated system to be able to determine whether their deal was a good deal or it was a bad deal. And I had a little bit of advantage sitting on a bank board, a public bank board for all those years. I saw hundreds of these deals come through from developers, both land and vertical developers. There was no consistency in what they gave to us, and I was always wanting them to put it in a format that I would call franchisable, something that I could look at and my eyes would be trained over and over to be able to pick out consistencies or inconsistencies. So a few years back, we took all of our massive amount of spreadsheets that we had, and it was in Excel. They were all circular spreadsheets that had multiple data inputs, and we decided at that point in time, you know what, we want to take this, write code for it, have something that we could internally use or give to our clients to be able to do it more efficiently, cost effectively, and quick, and come out with an end product.
Well, let's pivot. Let's talk about 2024. So here it is. It's 2024. Everyone's nervous. What are your plans?
So 2024 is going to be an interesting year. We've got an election year coming up. We're coming on the heels of 11 rate hikes to the Fed fund rate. There's noise right now that the Fed's going to pivot once, twice, 3, 4 times maybe. We don't really know. But you know, as I said last week, the hardest thing about what we do is prediction. We can't just sit here and do nothing. As real estate developers, as those who are involved in the manipulation of land and civil engineering for our clients, as those of us who are building buildings for our client base, managing our buildings for our client base, we've got to make decisions. Luckily for our companies, we're well positioned. I've been through 3 to 4 major downturns right now, and history does tend to repeat itself. So about 18 months ago, we disposed of most of our real estate that were marginal. We tried to keep a balanced look at our portfolios to what we had. We moved out of equities that we had positions in and went into treasuries where we knew what the market risk rate was. So fortunately, I think experience has put us in a position at this point to wait and be patient and look at things methodically, forensically. That doesn't mean that we're not going to execute on anything. It just means that we take a real stable approach to it, a more forensic look. a more prudent approach to those things that others might be having FOMO about. They haven't been in a deal now in a while, so they're looking at rate adjustments and they're saying, oh, we're going to dive in at this point because we don't want to miss out. My position would be, it's not a time to have FOMO. It's a time to be very prudent. It's a time to be very educated about what you do and stay the course of what you know works for you.
Well, thanks for explaining that. And, for your followers that are new to real estate investing, what can you tell them? Because being patient for what? Like what can they do right now?
Well, I think this period of time is very representative of many more cycles that have preceded us. And, I'm 63 going on 64 very quickly. Oh my gosh, that sounds very old all of a sudden. I have the advantage of looking back historically and being able to take advantage of those cycles. And what I can say to most people who really want to jump in at this point in time is take this time to be educated. And so that's why in a lot of our videos in past, we're going through methodically an educational process using Performa Plus, being able to identify those things that would yield good deals in the future, because the opportunities will come. We just have to be patient and, again, very methodical in the way that we move through this next year. I would also say that you need to establish your particular criteria for investing and stay with it. Mine in particular, people ask me all the time, what is your criteria for investing? What are you looking for? And to me, it's very simple. I have a specific cash-on-cash return that I want. For some asset classes, it's different. I have a specific internal rate of return that I want over the life of the project. And I also know my particular bent for risk. I would say that new investors are still trying to establish just what their risk, just what their risk tolerance is, and it's different for everybody. I had this opportunity one time of visiting with a couple of guys that were in their 20s that came to me and said, "Hey, Greg, can we have coffee with you? We want to talk about mortgaging our homes and taking our money and putting it into real estate, and we need your guidance." And I said, "Sure." So these two young investors sit down with me, and so they start to lay out this plan of having a HELOC, pulling out money on their homes and putting it into rental properties. At the end of about 30 minutes of explaining it to me, they said, "So what do you think?" And I looked at them and I said, I don't know. And they said, what do you mean you don't know? You've been doing this for years. And I said, well, I know what I would do. I know my risk tolerance. I know my ability to struggle through these things. But I don't know yours. But I'll tell you what, meet with me every Friday for the next month and talk to me about where you are in your life, where you are with your marriage. Is your wife on board with this? Where you are in raising your kids. I need to learn a little bit more about your risk tolerance before I even give you an opinion, because everybody's risk tolerance is a little bit different. Mine, I have what I consider a very balanced risk tolerance. I'm not extremely conservative, and I'm not extremely liberal either in my estimations of what I can do. So I think I kind of hit middle of the road. I hear a lot of prominent people, YouTubers and others that are out there saying cash is trash, or you need to be totally out of debt to live a joyous life. Well, I'm neither. I don't think like some that cash is trash. Try explaining that to somebody right now who can't make their mortgage payment if they get sick. They got to have some level of cash to be able to survive. But on the other end of the spectrum, if you have somebody that says, stay totally out of debt all of your life and never take any risk at all, that's mainly to somebody who's employed, who's going to work at a 9-to-5 job, who's going to retire in 30 years and wants a pension. That's not me. So I'm always going to view some form of debt structure, good debt structure, as an opportunity to create value for me.
So it sounds like a new investor is actually at an advantage right now because they've got the time. Maybe if it was a time of great and you just jump in, there'll be some mistakes you learn because you went all in right up front. So really, it's a good time probably to get in and take the time.
Not only is it a good time, it is one of the greatest times to be able to start and lay the foundation for your education. Because think about this, we have very few opportunities in a real estate and an investment cycle to really hit what I would consider home runs. I'm not saying that you're going to hit a home run, but I am saying, because I'm a bunts and singles kind of guy, and then every once in a while I'm going to hit a triple and a home run. That's my philosophy. But this particular period of our economy is very respective as to what's happened several times over historically. And specifically to real estate, 2024 is going to be sort of a cleansing of the market where opportunities are going to present themselves. So I would say to those who are sitting on the sidelines going, I've got FOMO, I want to do something, I would say, you know what, be patient. Educate, take this opportunity to be educated. Take this opportunity to continue to evaluate things over and over and over again, just like Tiger Woods has muscle memory to his golf swing, and people say, oh my gosh, how is he so perfect? Well, it's because he's done it 1,000 times. He's practiced it. He's done this every day in every condition. And that's what we're doing right now. We're putting in and we're using real life projects over and over again to give us a sense that we know when we start entering the data, we can tell within an hour of entering it whether it's going to be a deal or not a deal. And most of the deals right now are not. But create that muscle memory now without executing, so you will know almost subconsciously, there, I got the word out, whether the deal is going to make or not. Use the time to educate yourself, and then you evaluate, and then ultimately you're going to execute. Hey, also, if you like the content, be sure and like and subscribe to keep us pushing out these videos every week. Casey, thank you for being here. You're a great addition to the team. And to all the followers out there, remember, educate, evaluate, so that you can ultimately execute for your financial wealth.